Hello everyone, this is John for PokerVIP.com and welcome to my latest training video. In this one we are going to do the limping the button game. Now a lot of my videos always focus on how often we have to open the buttons. And the reason we have to open the buttons is again because the blinds are posted blind. We have to go ahead and steal them. People hate playing out of position. When they do call, we're sat in position and we can do whatever we want, pre or post flop. Same thing if they 3-bet, we have all the options in the world. So what will limping the button achieve? Well, is it a long-term strategy is the first thing to think of? Probably not, but what it will do is show you just how weak people can play from the blinds. What people are going to be doing, you'll see a lot of, is check folding there. They've automatically marked check fold, and from this we can instantly tell that they've not got much of a hand. So then we can play certain boards accordingly. Also what's going to happen is because we're going to be limping all of our hands, sometimes we're going to wake up with monsters. So we're also going to be getting into tricky situations post-flop where maybe our hand shrinks. Maybe it's like a fun way of getting value off a weak range that we've also already figured out that they've got. Maybe we're going to get put in some tough decisions with our marginals. But I think a lot of what it's going to come down to is we're going to see just how quickly and how passively people play from the blinds. And therefore, we limp, they check, we see that they fold. And we win the same amount of money by risking even less money. But we'll see what the outcome of that looks like at the end. So what are the rules? We can only limp or fold buttons. That's our only move. Our line will depend on villain's reaction. So it's not a limp the button and always c-bet. We might check, we might fold to leads, we might raise leads. All depends on flop texture, obviously our hand strength, and how we rate villain's hand strength as well. Also, we're going to stick to a set opening range. Like I said above, can only limp or fold buttons. So these are the hands that we're going to be limping the button with. The faded ones, the ones that are faded out, will be the ones we fold. So I've actually made quite a large opening range here, 55%. Definitely on the top end of what it could or even should be. And I've left, a couple hands out there that people may include, like the Queen Deuce suited and so on. Also added in hands that people might fold pre-flop, King 4 suited, King 3 suited, 9-4 suited, hands like that. But hands I actually like to open, any suited hands I'm kind of, giddy to get in the pot. You can see I've also cut it off, King 8, Queen 8, Jack 8, 10 8 as like the worst offsuit, broadways. All pairs as well, and then 4-5 off and 3-4 suited at the bottom of the range there of our connectors and suited connectors. So we're going to launch into the game. It's going to be playing 2 tables of 5 and L speed to carry on with the previous series I've done there, and because a lot of you seem to like that series and seem to be in those games. And we're basically just going to limp all these buttons. We're obviously going to play a lot of our hands as we normally would. Throughout the video, we're not going to just be folding aces in under the gun, position to just get to the button. So there'll still be general strategy in there. And leave comments below. Let me know what you think about it. And I really hope you enjoy this video. Okay, so we're going to get onto it now. Like I say, we're going to be playing, general poker throughout. But then obviously every button we're going to be limping. So here's an interesting one to start the video off. We're going to be limping on the button with aces, something I don't think I've ever done in my lifetime. Interesting that someone's actually gone ahead and just already opened in front of us, so we are just going to proceed as we normally would. Maybe a large 3-bet there for me. We could even make it 40. Like I've said in other videos, the last thing we want these people to do is to fold. So we could even make it smaller there to get him involved in the hand. Jack 6 suit, obviously going to be a fold, so we'll do 3 and 3-9. I'm obviously going to have to be paying a lot of attention here to when we're on the button, to not just fast fold, some of the hands that might be at the bottom of our range. Jack Queen again, someone's already gone ahead and opened, so we're just going to play the hand as we would. I think just calling behind here is fine. Firstly, someone who looks like a more recreational player, we can just play them in position and enjoy doing that. Great flop for us obviously there. Queen 6 offsuit on the button. Looking at my chart, that does not come into any of our range, so this will just be a fold. I think Jack Queen, we can just go ahead and blast it though for a nice bet. Really nice flop for us obviously. Great turn card there. Even though we don't have the nuts, it feels like we do. I want to get money, but I obviously don't want to put him off putting loads in. So I think 14 to 76 is the right way to go about it. Still going to build a 150 pot there. Not be able to go for stacks on the river. But I want him to be giving me action, with his weaker aces. The last thing I want him to do is to fold. So my idea isn't to just go for stacks. My idea is to, You know, just get as much value off him as possible. Again, if I think he's got a weak ace, I'm going to give him a really good price to call with it. And, you know, give him exactly 3 to 1 there. Well, I say exactly, pretty close. Because I'm always just going to expect the top, you know, the top of his range, like ace 10 there or something. We'll see what he had. No surprise, ace 5 offsuit. Feel like we got the max from this guy. Don't think he's going to call all in. Look how much money he can make versus ace 5 offsuit. All pretty straightforward hands. Ace Jack. Let me know what you think about that Jack Queen suited hand. Is that a spot where you might really start, you know, going for like stacks, you know, betting massive on the turn? I just assume he's very rarely got anything there. Ace Jack, obviously a monster flop. He's going to have a lot of draws. He's going to find it hard to fold a lot of his, you know, middle pairs that he's, you know, called with pre-flop. He's going to have some combos, some straight draws, some flush draws. Not many worse jacks than I can have, but he can certainly have a 10. Ace 3 offsuit definitely does fall into our button range, so we will be limping there. Ace Jack, I'm just going to go ahead and fast play it. Hope to just get it in. So ace 3, we're going to go ahead and limp the button and see what happens. Insta fold by the small blind. Big blind's actually short stacked, who checks quickly. I think here's just a fine spot for us to go ahead and c-bet, but once he leads, I'm going to go ahead and call once because we've got ace high and he might just be taking a stab. Ace Jack, the guy folded, that sucks. Ace 3 on the turn, I think I've got the best hand, but I'm not too sure what worse hands will call me. I think he's going to just have a very weak range here, so I'm just going to call and induce his bluffs and not think about raising. Queen's a lovely jubbly. Ace 3 again here. Obviously I'm going to be chopping with aces. I don't think he's got an ace that often, but I might actually jam here to get him to fold the chop if he randomly does have like a weak ace, or he might go ahead and call with a queen thinking it's a chop. So I think I can get, you know, hands that time me to fold and worse hands to maybe pay me off. The river changed my idea there. Just going to keep on betting my queens. If he's got a king, I can get a decent amount off him, so I guess just over half pot. So limping the button, paid off nicely there for us. You know, everything just plays the same post flop really. He calls again. Like you say, I'm pretty sure this guy's just got a king now. You know, king 10, king jack, king 8 suited. Something like that. You might have 10 jack off. You might have ace 10 sometimes, but I doubt it. Ace 4 definitely falls in the range, so we're going to go for the limp again. Just go forward, you know, straightforward bet if our queens here. So here's an interesting spot, the fact that Jekker didn't automatically go for a fold pre-flop, which a lot of small blinds do, but Rio did quickly check it. I'm actually going to check back here versus two opponents on this kind of board texture. Get raised by Mr. Leo here. I guess he's got like ace 6 or 10 jack, like a decent value hand. I don't think I'm ever beat. I think he can call if worse, so in it goes. Ace 4 again, just going to check to go to showdown here. But once we improve, I think we can get a little value bet. Not too sure exactly what will call us here, but I think we can, you know, hope that worse will. Interesting that Magister Leo folds there. I guess he was just running some sort of weird bluff. Ace 4 there. I actually quite like this button limp. It makes life really easy for you. Very rarely have to risk anything. But a short sample so far. Playing around, doing, you know, one-off sessions like this will like help your overall thinking in the game. It just changes things up. And also, like, what I will say, if you're a reg on a site, it will confuse the life out of people. Like, all of a sudden, you're like this perfect reg, playing the hands perfectly, and then all of a sudden you're limping. And they're like, what the hell's going on? What's he doing? What's his strategy? And people get scared, you know, to play versus you, or think you're drunk or something. Queen 6 suited I raise once he limped, you know, hoping that he just folds. Once he calls on a flop texture like this, I'm done with it. He's going to hit this board quite hard. Just get a check down here. Queen high does have some showdown value. Getting, you know, a huge price 7 to 1 here. But I just don't think I'm ahead, so I'm going to fold. 8-10 offsuit. Yep, that falls into it. 7-4 offsuit does not, though. Well, it shouldn't, yeah. Someone's opened before us, though, so we'll let that one go. It's going to be really interesting, you know, like doing this over a couple of videos. We'll probably do like a 2-parter on this, I think, would be fair. So we get a lot of hands in and a lot of interesting spots there to be limping the button. But it will be fun to see how people react to us and, you know, the amount of spews we get. or the amount of really tough decisions that we run into. Queen's an easy call. 4 deuce off definitely does not fall into my range, so that's an easy fold. Queens I'm just going to be calling down. He can have me beat. He can be bluffing. So it's just a very easy call down situation. And he has a worse hand. I doubt he's going to call too much extra there. I wasn't confident in raising, so a very straightforward call down. Nick Fisher was just tanking there. Queen 4 off. Definitely doesn't fall into it, but Queen 4 suited would. Sometimes I will open a hand like Queen 4 off, like just in my general play of like min raising the button. But it's definitely like a hand I'm not like always opening, and I will generally only open it if there's like a complete nit in the blinds, or if game flow sort of just lets me do it basically. Ace Queen, pretty good flop for us. Just going to bet really small here. 10's blind versus blind, min raise. Ace Queen we get min raise, so I'm just going to go ahead and call and let this guy barrel off if that's what he's doing. 10's great flop, bet pretty big. Don't want to see Nash check. He's bet, so I'm going to probably fast play this. Just in case, he's going to check down like A6 on the river. I don't want him to do that. I want to get all the money in either on the turn or be able to just lead jam the river. The only issue with that is he does get to fold all of his bluffs. But once he does bluff that flop and turns a flush draw, he's going to hold on. So I think we can get called by worse there. I don't think he's always bluffing, although we do have obviously a blocker and it'll be a big cooler. So maybe I got that wrong by raising. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I just didn't want him to be able to check a strong hand down on the river. I wanted to make sure, I get a good bit of turn value off him, and hopefully get all the money on the river. King Queen, very straightforward. Jack 9, we can mix it up between 3 betting and calling. I'm going to go ahead and just flat call. 25 and 30, I'm probably just going to give this up. A lot of the times I would be floating, but the bet size is just so big. So maybe that's a really good line he takes, and maybe a line we should think about doing ourselves with nothing is just betting even bigger. King Queen, 3x versus a mid stack out of position. I'm always happy to just muck that. Jack 9 off on the button. Does that fall into our range? Absolutely. So we will be going ahead and just getting the limping that we've been longly awaiting for. Ace Queen, I think we can go ahead and just get a 3-bet in. Okay, Jack 9 here. So the big blind checks. So again, he's probably not got a lot. So will a 5-cent bet work? He's certainly not got Ace King because he raises. Because he raises pre-flop. King 9 suited he probably raises. 8 9 suited he might raise. Any of those broadways, sets or 2 pairs, he probably raises. So we can be sure there that a tiny bet works, and it does. Ace Queen, we raise, we get min raised. I'm just going to go ahead and call him down. Pretty sure I'm ahead. Maybe learn from the lesson of the previous hand. By raising the turn, that wasn't the best way to do it. But once it goes check on the river, I'm just going to go for maximum value and jam it in. Get called by Ace 8 or something. Well, he actually got there for 10 on the rivers. That's pretty sucky for us. But I think a very standard jam by us there to get called by worse. Jack 4, definitely not a button opening hand. Ace 8 suited to defend. We can call, we can 3-bet. I've been 3-betting a lot more recently, so now I'm going to start calling a little bit more. We just mix it up. Probably prefer the 3-betting route that I've been going down recently. It's been working out really well. Nobody's come back and exploited me or anything. Very rarely was I getting played back at. Ace 4 off, definitely going to be limping the button, but once one opens ahead of us, we can fold. 4-5 suited I don't open under the gun. I think it's just a little bit too small. Definitely not even near the bottom of my suit connector range. 8-9 suited, 8-10 suited, hands like that I can open. But the smaller ones I generally wait until mid position cut off and so on. Queen 4's junk on the button. We don't need to always be opening that anyway. It's generally going to be in people's folds, as I mentioned earlier on in the video. Ace Queen versus a guy with this sort of stack. I'm just going to raise, and if he wants to get it in, I'm going to party with him. can never be getting in that bad. Interesting flop for us here. 2 overs, good shot. Really hate these situations because we do find ourselves just calling and hoping for the best. Ace-8 suited, definitely worth a button raise. As you can see, the small blind just folds so quick again. Ace-Queen on the turn, I guess I now have to fold. Ace-8, I don't think he's got much, so I'm just going to go ahead and bet small again, just hope he folds. He's not going to have that many strong hands, like here, like he's check raising, so what's he repping? Queen 10, 10-8, Jack 9, a set. Most of them are quite unbelievable, so I'm just going to go ahead and call. Turn 3 of a kind, this gets interesting. So a lot of the hands we said improve on this turn, or really sort of shrivel up a little bit for him. And like Queen 10 isn't as sexy now, but a hand like 8-10 obviously is. But for us, I'm just going to call. If he's bluffing, that's great. If he's got a better hand, then we can lose the minimum. So the 9 gets there. So if he had a random Jack in his hand, then he improves. But I'm just not going to be folding this. He actually checks here, so I don't assume he's got Jack 9 or anything. I guess he's got a hand like Queen 10 as like the top of his range, or he's got nothing. So I'm just going to go ahead and bet for value here, and I'm going to bet pretty small. And he insta-folds. So I think there we got into spaz. I think he had pretty much nothing at all there, and we just kind of played with him a bit. For us to bet fold that flop would just be crazy, because he just reps so little. And on the turn he goes for it again. He's repping the same, but the board's paired. So would he take the line with those hands? Who knows? So that was quite fun. Nice to see someone just losing their mind versus a button limp, which I assume a lot of people will. Interesting here with the 8-9. We have a full house, but I guess betting into 2 people in this size looks like strength, so I'm going to fold. 5-8 suited, I decided to go for the raise rather than the peel. Nothing wrong with that, guys. You can do either. Flop the world. Going to just bet 50 into 72. We get a fold, we win another pot. It's exactly what we hoped for. 5-6 off. Do you fall into it? Yes, you do. I'm just going to pull this chart up for a quick reminder of which hands go into this open. You can obviously get this from the beginning of the presentation, but 54.8%. So as you can see there, 5-6 goes into it, but someone's already open, so we're going to fold. We'll just leave this guy here so we can keep checking back up on him if we've got any interesting decisions. But I pretty much know what the hands are now. 7-4 off, we can just quickly check, but I know it's not in there because 7-5 off is the worst hand that we're doing that with. So we can just fold. Ace-4 suited, you all will know that I like to open Ace-4 and Ace-5 suited under the gun. Obviously we can make wheels, which will be less dominated, we can make the nut flush draws, and we can just go ahead and crush with those kind of draws and hands. You can actually probably just check give up on a board like this. No heart, out of position, bottom pair. Flat caller pre-flop is going to have a lot of suited connectors, a lot of pocket pairs, some suited broadways, so pretty easy fold. Deuce-4 suited. No, he does not fall into it. He is right on the faded line, but 3-4 suited would have been in. I think we could probably excuse Deuce-4 suited to come into that now and then. As a general button open hand. But for this video, we're sticking to the rules. Nobody likes to break the rules. King-9 suited, we definitely know falls into this range. As you can see, it's pretty much every single suited king. Well, it's every single suited king, sorry, from all the way up. So anytime we've got a suited king, we know it's a min raise, an open limp, sorry, on the button. I do get my words twisted from time to time. So interesting here, Mr. 2X, little short stack. Was hanging around to make up the blind, so he might have a little something. Artemka didn't raise, so we can assume he's got not a lot. So I think a bet can work here on an A-side board. I think we can rep it just as well as if we did open the button. It's interesting that so far, 20 minutes into the video, we have not been like raised pre-flop yet. Kings here, very easy, yeah. 4-bet spot. King 9, I'm just going to check. I think I could be ahead. I'm not 100% because, like we say, this Mr. 2X was the guy who's actually stuck around. So, maybe he's got a little weak ace or something. Don't think he's going to call with worse. Don't think he's going to fold better. So I think we make an easy check here. He's got ace-8. That makes sense. I'm going to bet pretty small with my kings. Don't need to bet too big. He's going to, he's getting 5-1 here, so he might call with quite a lot of hands. not just want to fold yet. So we kind of entice him a little bit. He jams. I guess he's going to have ace queen of hearts, ace king, pocket jacks maybe. Ace king, yeah, makes sense. And he's drawing dead. Pocket ace is drawing dead, and we scoop a nice pot there. Can't be bad. Bit of video run good. Would you bet the same on that flop? Would you bet even bigger? Because it's funny that we're giving him such a great price when there are a lot of draws out there. But his hand is a lot of pocket pairs or ace queen, so there's very few hands in there that like a draw can get there to improve. So like a 10 could hit, yes, and that improves ace queen, but that feels like it's about it. And if he's got like ace queen of hearts, he's just going to get it in anyway, so I don't feel too threatened. 7-4 off. We've learned from this that it's definitely not in our range, so I can just go ahead and quickly fold. And anyone who is studying on ranges, just general opening ranges, get something like this. Just have it somewhere on your computer and just always just check it, memorize it, and one day it'll just become stuck in your head and you'll never have to look back at it. I use Flopzilla for that, but you can use Hold'em Manager, Poker Tracker, other things out there. 7-4 suited. Yep, this will be a button limp. Here we go. Small blind, insta folds, like we've been seeing a lot. Big blind, insta checks, like we see a lot. Let's just pop out a little min bet there for our flush draw. So this is interesting. He called really quick, so he's probably going to have like a weaker one pair type hand. So we're going to try and bomb him off that by repping the ace on the turn and betting pretty big. Pretty straightforward, right guys? This is proving very fun and very easy. Am I going to do this in my own games? Maybe. This is very easy because people give away a lot just in the pre-flop action. And also then just, you know, like an ace improves, bada bing, bada boom, we can go ahead and bet that because we know he doesn't have it. 9's here is going to bet pretty big. You know, nice when two people call you on a Jack X, means a lot of people might have a bit of junk. Ace Queen going to bet my double gut shot, get him to fold his smaller pairs. You might even call me with King Queen. River check when we don't improve. He bets, so he's repping a Jack. Not too sure I believe this guy. Not too sure I believe this guy. Do you just bet a Jack there, or do you want to check it back? King Queen, Ace 9 suited, something like that. I'm actually going to make a hero call here. I'm going to check my 9s because I'm not 100%. Ace Jack, yeah, I think that's probably one of the only hands he bets that is a Jack. 9s I check, 10s gets there sadly, but I don't think we did anything wrong. Nice little deposit bonus just popped up there. If you want to sign up, hit the link below. Ace 4 suited, we know what we're doing there. And enter the code FREE20 when you do sign up. €20 for free. €1,500 deposit bonus. VIP cashback, 100k per month in free rolls, and all that good stuff. Tangero, he just checked pre-flop. I'm going to be cheeky and just try my 5 into 12. Him checking pre-flop does connect with a board like this. That is the interesting thing. He's going to have a lot of junky hands in the big blind. It does connect, but why the hell not? We can go ahead and see bet once. Get a check on that turn and probably just shut down with this hand. I 3-bet ace queen here and this little guy calls me. He's going to have a lot of junk, so I'm just going to ship him in because I don't want to check fold ace queen high. I don't want to bet call it off. And he actually trapped me with Jack's pre-flop and flopped a set. So all of my reads there were totally wrong, but from my experience he's going to have a lot of king queens, worst aces, and so on like that. So I'm definitely fine with just shipping it there and expecting to get called by worse or have equity versus some of his hands. Ace 4 here, I don't think I can rep too much, so I'm just going to check. And I might have the best hand, but I'm going to expect to have a hand like 5-10 off here or something random like that. That beats me. I check and I win, which is interesting. There's very few hands that you can have that I beat. I was going to say Deuce 4 is one of them, and that's the only one that he had, so that's perfect. Kings, let's go ahead and limp a strong hand. That's pretty fun. 8-5 off. Someone's open, so it doesn't matter, but it does not fall into my opening range, I believe. Yep, there he is. Kings here, we open, we get the ace-high flop. I'm actually going to check back here. Like I know I can win that by betting because I just don't ever expect to have an ace. But on the turn, by checking, I can like get him to like lead any of his bluffs. The ace, I kind of expect him to lead to raise pre-flop, which is why I don't put him on like a strong ace. River, I'm actually going to bet really small and hope to get called by a jack, just because I don't expect to have an ace that often at all. And he does go ahead and make a quick call with jack queen suited. He should have probably raised with this hand pre-flop once I limp the button. But his hand was pretty face up to me there throughout the hand. And I think we can go ahead and get some good value from it on the river. 5 deuce suited does not fall into our range. 10 jack, but we always open that in the cutoff. Same rules apply. Ace jack here, I will be limping the button. We know that is 100% open. Small blind again quickly folds. He visa quickly checks. So I'm just going to go ahead and be cheeky. 5 into 12. Queen 4, that's definitely not open. And we win again. This is actually proving easier than opening the button. Like, is it me or is this just like a load of fun and just working so well? It's just so much fun because you can put people on like the hands all the time. Like everything's face up. Ace king suited, limp the button. Can't say I've done that too much in my time. Small blind folds, Igor checks. So again, they probably both got not a lot. He's not a lot can connect with a board like this. You're gonna have some gut shots, some straight draws, some pairs. So I'm just gonna check here and hope to improve. I don't expect him to have like a straight here. So I can just go ahead and bet, hope to get him to fold, you know, some of his weaker pairs, which he does. If he called that a flop and the river bricked, I'd go ahead and bet pretty big again. Because like I say, he's going to be capped at like a weaker one pair type hand there, which I can get to fold. Playing on a Saturday afternoon, 167 players in the 5-0 player pool. So if you're looking for some action, maybe get yourselves over here, check it out. 5s under the gun, definitely an open. 5s plus is my under the gun opening range. I leave the smaller ones out. Interesting to get 3-bet by Make Bella here. Not too sure who they are, but I got to defend versus the 3-bet and then just sort of, you know, think what to do on the flop. On a flop like this, so I just give up. 5s here, I bet really small. He doesn't have much behind him. I can get all the money in by the river. I don't want to scare him off. We could maybe even check that flop because it is so dry and we hit it so hard and he doesn't. But, you know, like my general theory is, you know, just try and bet small, get a call. You know, you can have some gut shots. You can have a weak hand that he still calls with, getting such a good price. And then, of course, we can build the pot rather than, you know, getting like one street of value. We might get 2 or 3. And be able to get more value than we would if we didn't bet the flop. 6 foot, the exact same hand on 2 tables. Not often you see that. Leave a comment below. Are you guys going to be trying this button limp your next session? Just see how it works out versus you. What are you thinking about it so far? How is it as a strategy? Will be fun to see what you guys think. Is it a donk play? Is this actually a better play? Could this be a play that we use going forward? Is this something that's going to start happening a lot more in games because it's so effective? So again, small blind just instantly folds, and I think this is one of those things that I spoke about in previous videos about, you know, just how much stronger it looks. Like you open the button, small blind 3-bets. It looks so much stronger than if the big blind 3-bets you, and it's because they fold so often, like we're seeing throughout this video. So when you're in the small blind, guys, guess what? Start 3-betting more. Trust me, it works an absolute treat. People just open the buttons, open the buttons, open the buttons. Once they start getting 3-bet from the small blind, they start to, you know, just insta-fold, insta-fold. If you've not seen it before, go to the poker coaching video section of our site. And if you look for the 5&L Speed Poker on NetBet series, it's part 5 where it says blind defense. That's the video you want to check out for what I was just speaking about. King Jack, I'm just going to lead the river after I floated the flop. Ace 4, just going to call. We get raised by Xfinity here, so he's going to have like Ace King a lot, I guess, and that's pretty much it. I don't know if I can get him to fold by jamming because I don't rep much. I don't think he's going to be bluffing that often, so I'm just going to fold. Just feels like he's got it. Ace 4, I can lead now. He's repping such a narrow range, but like, I don't see people just showing up with bluffs in that spot. Leave a comment below, do you? Would you have called that? Would you have paid him off? Just seems a bit like, you know, pay off wizardish to go ahead and do that. And I don't really like paying people off. Maybe I get bluffed too much because of that. Who knows? Queen 10 can just peel. We can 3-bet also. I actually much prefer 3-betting the more I start peeling again. It was just being so like effective and working way more than peeling than, you know, floating flops. Can isolate this little guy. 5-6 being 3-bet. I'm going to fold. Not the greatest flop for us, but we'll go ahead and c-bet it. Hope to take it down. Six 4 off. Pretty sure we've covered that it does not fall into the range, so I'll muck it. But you can see 6-4 suited does, 5-6 off does. So it is that close sometimes between, you know, opening and folding. 10 Jack, King Jack, limp. And did you see the speed of them checks? Nick Fisher snapped folded pre-flop, Spider snap check folded, had a check fold ticked. Obviously he could hit a flop like that, you know, he could have like Queen Deuce, he could have 3-4, but generally he's going to have nothing. So guess what, bet 5 cents into 12 cents and win that pot. Queen 5 is a load of junk. So I guess one of the things that we'll have to be speaking about in the next part is how would this work at other stakes. I mean, this is 5-0, so maybe we can, you know, pretty comfortably say that they're not paying as much attention as higher stakes. They are not reacting the way they should compared to what people might at higher stakes. So do stay tuned for, you know, part 2 on that. Okay, first sort of middling pocket pair that we're going to limp with pre-flop. Small blind tanking. He just makes up the blind, so he's going to have, you know, something that he wants to see the flop with. You know, gap connector, pocket pair, maybe a small pocket pair, 10 jack off, something like that you can definitely have. So once he leaves and gets called here, I think it's going to be absolutely fine for us to just fold. Yeah, we'll go ahead and isolate this little guy. 100,000 euro deposit of free rolls just flashed across my screen. Sounds pretty good. Good flop for us here to represent. Let's hope he doesn't do that annoying little 5-cent lead that people have been doing to me a lot recently in these coaching videos. So I'm just going to bet small, just under half pot. You know, the smaller the better. We rep it just as strong. No need to do anything, you know, crazy there. Jack 6. Like I say in previous videos, so if you've not seen them, JBone Twitch is my username because we are now streaming on twitch.tv. That's twitch.tv/PokerTube. We're going to have lots of cash games, MTTs, student drinking games, all sorts, sit and goes, bankroll run-ups, all the good stuff that you've got to stay tuned for. Make sure you go to the page, click the notifications on, and then every time we go live you will be notified. But we also notify people in our forum or across all our social media streams, which are always /PokerVIP or /PokerTube. We'll also be doing some cool giveaways on there, so check it out. Jacks here, I'm just going to call. Under the gun opens, looks quite strong. We just call, makes our hand look more like, you know, smaller pairs rather than jacks. We don't get outplayed, we keep the pot smaller. All sounds pretty good to me. Ace-high flop versus 2 opponents. It goes check. I'm just going to check back myself. We can take a stab there, but you know, checking back, keeping the pot small is fine. Just going to call this guy with my king queen. Going to bet my jacks now. Don't want any, you know, random hands to get there. King queen, just going to call him again. I'm like 99% sure I'm ahead. I don't want to blow him off the pot, so I'm just going to call and probably call. He's tanking this river, which is never a good sign. He bets small. Look at that price we're getting. Not too sure worse will call me if I raise, so guess what? Just an easy call. He has pocket sixes. Happy days. 10 jack suited. Awesome. Awesome hand to limp the button with. King queen we don't need to defend button opens with, mid position opens with, but we would have done. But then this guy called. We are still getting a good price. We can come along as well. 10 jack suited. We're going to limp the button. I've noticed I do get my tongue tied a few times in these videos, so I do apologise. Okay, so now interesting. Spider PS has 4x'd it, so he's going to have a decent hand here. You know, like decent pocket pairs, but suited broadways, decent aces. So we're obviously still going to call because our hand plays fine versus those hands, but we are going to be aware that he's going to have a stronger hand more often than not. He bets his flop, and I'm actually just going to give it up to him. Like I say, I think he's going to have a decent hand. There is a heart on there, but it's a paired board, king high. I think we just let this one go. Interesting. Everyone's showing a bit of strength here, but I don't think I can fold getting this price. But I probably will fold to a river bomb. But then we make top two pair. I guess Raf's going to lead jam and put me in a really annoying position. But it will be a very easy flat call by me. Just going to check this river. Hope to go to showdown. Not too sure Zabi Yash has that many flushes. But he's going to have some sets. Or check back, you know, hands that I beat. He did actually just check back a set there, which is fine. We were ahead of Raf. I think we played everything well there. I think I probably fold the river if I face a bet. By the guy who sat behind us, yeah. Zabiyak, 888. 5-6 suited would be a nice button limp, but once it's been opened ahead of us, we can fold and move on. The joys of speed poker. 3-5 off. Let's have a look. Pretty confident it won't be. Yep, nor is 3-5 suited. So whenever we see a 3 or a 5, we can fold. 7-9 suited definitely will be in that range. Look at it there. We can even open limp 9-4 suited if we fancy throughout this video. So here we go, a limpy loo. Kings will be opening. Small blind insta folds again. Not surprised by that at all. This guy checks after a couple of seconds tank, but I don't think that means that much. But again, guys, look how often the small blind's folding. This is where we need to, you know, pick up on people. Just gonna bet there. Decent sized bet with my kings as well, and we get another nice fold. So we're limping. We're betting the minimum. We're risking the same as what we would do if we were like just button opening pre-flop, but then we're risking less post-flop, so it's working out really well. Kings we get raised by this guy. There's lots of draws on there, so I'm just going to go get it in with my king of spades in my hand as well. He folds, that's fine. He can get in with like ace-jack, he can get in with a big draw. Sometimes he's going to have me beat, but like I said, I've got the king of spades back up in my up my sleeve, so I'm fine to go ahead and fast play there, rather than just calling and, you know, making it hard to play post flop. Ace-7 suited went for a nice 3-bet steal. Ace-9, I open the button. Might check back here just for a bit of deception. Let him lead some turns. Try and get turn and river value from him. And again, like, he could have hands that beat us, you know, Ace-10 or Ace-Jack. So everything just works well for us. And then on that turn, obviously, snap. And then on the river will just be a snap call as well. He checks. I'm just going to go ahead and bet for value. Really small. Give this guy a little bit of pain. Make him desperate to go ahead and pay us off. But he still folds. So at least we got a nice little bluff there from him on the turn. Some good folding going on. We'll set out the live play and do a little conclusion. And like I say, this will be a two-parter, so make sure you come back for that. Queen 8, I'm just going to check. Probably check call the flop. We could take control there and, you know, raise pre. But, you know, checking Queen 8 and seeing the flop's absolutely fine. Jack 10, we get a 3-bet, so we want no more of that action, that's for sure. I'm sure you all know 7-8 does definitely fall into a button opening range. Oh god, sorry. Wow, well there you go. My mistake is because I pulled up this. I didn't see the little guy under the gun limp. So we over-limp the button. That's pretty fun. And we're just going to shut down here. Cool. My mistake, guys. I was already just getting the hand chat up to show us, and I must have missed that. King, Queen, open, great flop. Just going to bet tiny here, 20 to 37. Just really want calls. Nice dry flop. Queen kicker, top pair. We get a fold, sadly. King's here on the right. 3-6 is junk. We wouldn't even min raise that. And that's one sat out now, so we'll play these kings. Which we get a walk. Not that much people playing back at us today. Games have been very passive and soft. Okay, so I'll be back with you with the conclusion. Okay, so here is the conclusion of what we learned and what happened throughout that first part of Limping the Button series that I'm doing. So the first part was pretty obvious that we saw and mentioned throughout was the small blinds just also fold way too much. Now on speed poker you can't fold the big blind and move on before it's actually around you to act. You can only have a check fold ticked, and then obviously if someone limps then you're going to see the flop. But in the small blind you can just usually where you can just fold and then you're gone off the table. You don't have to wait around. So people are just more inclined to fold the small blinds because, well, they don't like playing out of position. They know that the button's going to probably open. Everyone's worst situation has been small blind versus big blind. So there we can just win the small blind by just limping. The small blind's already gone. We've defeated them. Now we only have to deal with the big blind, right? And the big blind's also below, like I put here, they're also going to have auto check fold on. So we can instantly realize, okay, their hand's weak. They want you to fold this hand. They don't want anything to do with it. So when we go to c-bet, just bet the minimum. It works so well. Because guess what? They're also going to lead when they've got a big hand sometimes. Say they flop that 2-pair. They might go for a lead. They might check raise. So by betting the minimum, we lose the minimum when they check raise, or we win the most by betting the least from when they just fold. And throughout this video, as you can see, they generally just fold. Now, from this as well, what I was just saying above, it's easy to rate opponents' hands. If the small blind thinks about it and makes up the big blind, he's probably going to have something that's kind of connected, like a little pocket pair, 8-9 off maybe, 10-jack suited I would personally raise, but they might come along with, Queen 10 offsuit, weak aces, they might just be like, okay, I'm getting a good price, I'll see the flop. Big blinds, like I say, if they check, they're just going to have very little. It's going to be hands that are just not very playable at all. Hands like 6-9 offsuits, 8-3 suited, things like that basically. So it's very easy to rate. And then also, when the flop comes down, you just compare those hands to what the flop looks like. Does this hit them? If the flop comes ace, king, 10, guess what? They're probably not going to hit it that much. If the flop comes ace, deuce, deuce, again, they're probably never going to hit that flop because they should probably be raising a lot of their aces and taking control of the pot. So, again, betting the minimum will work. And I've confirmed that just below again. C-betting min is all we needed to do. Now, our range was solid. I really like this 54.8% range as a general opening strategy, if you're min-raising or 2.5x in the button. Generally, once you get to 50%, you can start slowing down with the opens. But I think in speed poker or any fast fold variant, I think the more we open, the better. Because people are just not playing back enough. And guess what? Again, if they do, we're in position. Okay, so just fold. That's fine. We don't really lose anything by doing that. Because over the long term, we're going to win more than we lose. If they 3-bet, we know which hands to call with. We know which hands to 4-bet. So there's loads we can do there. So I would just keep saying piling them button opens, whether you're limping or raising. It's up to you. Now, what we saw there was a blind trying to make a move on the Queen 10-8 board when we had ace-8 suited. Was he trying to make a move? Well, by the river, it looked like he had absolutely nothing. It's like check raise the flop, bet the turn, check snap fold the river. I think if he's got a decent 2-pair, he might pay us off there thinking, well, this guy just limped the button. He called the flop, he called the turn, now he's repping like a straight or a full house. Might not be very believable, being in his shoes. So, be aware. We've got ace-8, comes queen 10-8. Should we really just be bet folding that? We bet 5, he makes it 12, whatever he did, 13. We've got the backdoor flush draw. He's not repping that much. We can improve. I think we go ahead and call there. And just, pay attention to what they're actually trying to put across to us. And, that'll just take an extra couple of seconds. But guess what? Again, we're in position. We've got the time bank. We know what the flop texture looks like. We know what he wanted to do pre-flop. This guy wanted to check fold pre-flop. Would he do that with queen 10? Probably not. Maybe you'd think about raising there. Maybe you'd think about defending there. Button opens. Do we just fold queen 10? From the big blind? No, we probably call. Sometimes we 3-bet. Same with 10-8. That's a fine hand to call with, especially if they're suited. So if it doesn't make sense and things don't add up, it's usually a bluff. And also, limping the button is fun was my final conclusion. I didn't think I'd enjoy doing it that much. I wanted to put a new video out there, that was, touching a point that someone might have done in the past that I just wanted to, go over again. And on speed poker, of course, because back in the day it might have been on like a regular game. I love it. I'm actually going to spend today in my usual games limping the button and just seeing how people react. I think they're going to lose their minds versus me. I think I'm going to pick up a load of easy pots like I just did throughout there. Also, if anyone out there wants to be kind of like a guinea pig for this, leave a comment below. If someone plays 5 speed and wants to just say, okay, from now on I'm just going to limp the button, and then like track it over 50,000 hands and we see what your button win rate is, I would love to see that from these games. So if anyone wants to be a guinea pig, put a comment below. I can maybe help you out with like a little boost to your bankroll, or make a deal that if you ever lost from the big blind over those amount of hands, I could pay you the difference on what you would have won from before or something. But I would love to see it, so yeah, leave a comment. Also leave a comment about anything you've seen. Is this a good strategy, bad strategy? Let me know. The range, is it good? Should we bring it down a little bit? Should we actually open more, 3-5 suited, 6-4 off, open the king 7 offs and so on? Let me know what you think about that. So this was John from PokerVIP.com, and this was Limping the Button Part 1. Hope you enjoyed it, and goodbye.